hi everybody. We ran out of time in class today, so I wanted to send you two more word problems for 8.2, which is law of sines. So this first one says a forest ranger is walking on a path inclined at a 5-degree angle to the horizontal directly toward a 100-foot fire observation tower. The angle of elevation from the path to the top of the tower is 40 degrees. How far is the ranger from the tower at this time? Okay. So we have a lot of things going on. We have this first triangle. It kind of looks like this, where this is 40 degrees. This is 100 feet. But this is not a right angle. It's just not a right angle because we know underneath we have this 5-degree grade. So this is 5 degrees. Okay. If I draw it this way, right, where I make this a right angle, then this is 45, like when I put this together. This would be 90, right? So I have 90, I have 45, and then it says, oh, I have another angle up here. So let's go ahead and start with saying 180 minus 45 minus 90. That gives us 45. So this angle up here is 45. That's the good start we need. So now this is 45. Okay. And let me kind of take a little bit off of here so we can talk about this a little more. Now go back to this triangle we had before. So this is 40, this is 45, which adds up to 85. That says this part right here is 95. So now we can talk about this little triangle I have. Okay, so this is 40, this is 45, and this is 100. What am I trying to figure out? I'm trying to find out this bottom part, this distance that the ranger is away from this tower. So I'm going to use the law of sines, and I'm going to use the 40 and the 100 because I know those. So sine of 40 over 100 is going to be equal to, this is now the sine of 45 over x. So this takes care of the fact that he is going to walk up the hill a little bit. That walking up the hill should make it a little bit longer of a path than if he was just walking straight. Right, so cross multiplying, I have x sine of 40 is equal to 100 sine of 45. So we're going to divide. We have 100 sine of 45 over sine of 40. Which says this is 110. And it gives me 0.006, so I'm just going to call it 110. I guess I could call it 0.01 since we have been doing 2 decimal places. So I will say it's 110.01 feet. So that's how far he's got to walk to get up to this, or he or she, the forest ranger, how far the forest ranger has to walk to get up to that tower. Okay, one more. Looking at the height of an aircraft. So we have two sensors are spaced 700 feet apart along the approach to a small airport. When an aircraft is near the airport, the angle of elevation from the first sensor to the aircraft is 20 degrees, and from the second sensor to the aircraft is 15 degrees. We determine how high the aircraft is at this time. So let's try to draw something. So this will be our first sensor. So let's call it sensor 1, and let's say this is sensor 2. So what do we say? It says the first sensor to the aircraft is 20 degrees. Now my drawing's not going to be good, but just go with it. So this is my first one, and then this is my second one, right? So we're looking to the aircraft. So this is 15 degrees, and this one, you have to kind of look this way. This is 20 degrees. Right. So this is how this is looking, this is how this is looking, and we're trying to say, well, how high in the air is the airplane? So we'll get there. All right. So I see a triangle immediately, right? Like, so here's my airplane over here, wherever. This 20, I can use the supplement, which says 160. So now I have 160. Let's make this, here's our obtuse. And again, you know, I don't draw to scale, but we'll go with it. So this was 160, this was 15. Well, that makes 75, so that means this little angle up here is 5, We need to know one more thing, and what we know are the sensors are 700 feet apart, so this is 700. So that's what we needed. We need the 5 degrees with the 700 feet. That way we have something to start with. So I can say the sine of 5 degrees is over 700. And then let's pick something that we want to know. I would like to know this x, how far this is. I'm thinking eventually I'm going to drop another triangle in here. So then I can say, well, if I'm looking at x, I need to use the sine of 15 over x. Okay, so we had 5 goes with 700, 15 goes with x. We know we're going to cross multiply. So x sine of 5 is going to be equal to 700 sine of 15. So x is 700 sine of 15 over 5. Oh, and that's the sine of 5, sorry. I need that. Okay, so this says 2078, we're going to call it 0.74. All right, so now let's add in another triangle. Let's put it in a different color. Okay, so I'm going to drop this down and say if I make this like a 90-degree angle, I know this x, I know that this angle is 20 degrees, and now I have the hypotenuse of this right triangle I just put in, and I said, I want to know this height, I'm going to call it y. So what would I say? I would say the sine of this 20 degrees would be equal to y over this value we just found, 2078.74. So we're going to multiply across, so we'll do 2078.74 times the sine of 20, and that says our height is 710.97, and that is feet. This particular problem, there could be a lot of different ways to do it. You could have decided to find this height, I'm going to call it, or this A, and then make a triangle from there too. Like, you have a lot of choices. It's really up to you how to do it. You did, of course, have to use the sine of 5 and the 700 as your beginning, because 700 is the only thing that we do know. So I like that there's choices, and I like that, you know, you can check your answers as you do it. I'm sure maybe that makes you uncomfortable for the test, but we'll get there, right? This is just day 1 of doing this thing. We'll do it more times.